Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Dance.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
And I'm Office Bloke Max.
Here we are, three of us together.
Indeed.
Back to the 80s, back to... A lot of people always say, right, can we show us some things about England, the UK?
Yeah.
And what better way to do it is show Manchester in the 80s.
Yeah.
Greatest city on earth, by far.
I think so. It's the most... it was at one point in the last... I don't know if it still is, but one of the fastest developing cities in Europe.
Yeah,
It was.
Yeah. And the skyline's taking a real good shape at the moment.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's looking like a global skyline now.
Yeah.
Yes, high rise, some skyscrapers in there.
Yeah, and still not stops after they're still going to build more.
No, still throwing loads up at the moment.
Yeah.
Massive sort of like influx of population as well.
Yeah.
I think someone told me like in the year like I think it might be in the 90s or whatever, something like 50 people lived in Manchester in the town centre.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were the right numbers, but it was something crazy like that. And I was like, what?
It's just a different shift of living completely, isn't it? People want to live in city centres now, in apartments and stuff. A lot of shops and stuff, all the rooms above them used to be all empty and stuff, but they've all been converted on old warehouses and stuff. So it's amazing to see. It's great having so many people there, to be honest. But
So this is kind of the years when I was from 10 to 20 type thing, or well, more like 8 to 18 in the 80s. So it was football was a big part of my life in the 80s.
Yeah, same here.
Getting into all kinds of trouble, as you do as a Mancunian. We're all in that same boat, wasn't we? You had no choice. You went to the football, you got involved in trouble. It was. It's what it is.
It's part of football at times.
Someone got stabbed in front of me.
Oh, really?
At United.
Really?
Because my dad took us to United one week and City the next, so we could keep watching football.
Yeah.
And he said, as you get older, you can choose whatever team you want to follow, sort of thing. Because my mum was a United fan, and then someone got stabbed, and my dad went, "That's it, we're never going to United again."
Was it? Fair enough.
I think my dad was waiting for it. Waiting for
The
something to
fighting
happen.
culture around United at that time was fucking
I was
horrific.
around every club.
Around every club.
I'm sure it'll mention it here. This is reliving and exploring Manchester's most iconic streets. Oh, most iconic streets.
Yeah, right, okay.
All right, okay, this will be interesting. Let's go.
The city was loud, restless and raw. Somewhere between the pounding bass from Piccadilly Gardens and the smoke curling out of fish and chip shops on Market Street, Manchester in the 1980s was alive. Ferociously alive. You didn't just walk through the city back then. You felt
Tram's there now.
Neon lights reflecting off wet cobblestones. The echo of punk from Oldham Street blending with the early pulse of acid house. Students, misfits, shopkeepers, rebels, all colliding in a daily theatre of grit and culture. And if you think you know Manchester, think again. By the end of this video, you won't just see Manchester. You'll feel like you've been there. Let's walk back in time. The pavement hasn't cooled. We begin on Market Street, the heartbeat of shopping life in the 80s, packed with people, buzzing with energy. It was where you found Woolworths, street performers, bargain stalls, and shoulder-to-shoulder crowds.
Nothing's changed.
Not really, no.
That's where you get market stalls, street performers, crackheads.
Big time,
You get all kinds. You get all kinds of shit there now. Market Street's like the magnet. It's at the top end of it. When you walk to the top end of it, you get to Piccadilly Gardens. But it's like the proper that's the end bit. That's the finish line.
That's the melting point.
It's sort of like the main shopping area, isn't it? It sort of like passes down through the Arndale Centre, which it still does.
Yeah. It's for me. It's like very entertaining to walk up there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
When I go town, I'm going to town this weekend. When I go through, I'll definitely walk through this area.
Yeah,
just for a little bit of entertainment.
Yeah, you always get someone there, don't you?
Just to see what psycho's out today.
Yeah,
some guy walking on stilts while he's fighting with a dwarf. Sort of thing. That's what you're gonna see.
Then you get a few rastas just knocking about with some like cheap like clothing or merchandise, and it stinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Hunting for deals. The sounds of clinking coins, buskers singing under grey skies, and double-decker buses passing by made it a city soundtrack you couldn't escape. But it wasn't just about buying things. Market Street was a stage for Manchester's everyday drama. Locals shouted greetings. Teenagers in denim jackets leaned against storefronts, blasting mixtapes from boomboxes. It was chaotic, alive, and unmistakably Mancunian. The kind of street that never really stayed still. Step onto Corporation Street, and you're stepping into the shadow of the Manchester Arndale Centre, a brutalist giant that defined the city's retail ambitions in the 80s. It was bold, concrete, and unapologetically modern. Inside, you'd find everything, from chain stores to escalators that felt like they led to the future. Outside, it was a crossroad of commuters, shoppers, and city noise. But Corporation Street had more than just commerce. It carried the pulse of a city trying to rebuild and redefine itself. Office workers rushed past punk kids. Pensioners queued at bus stops as roller-skating teens darted through crowds. It was a place where the old Manchester and the new one constantly rubbed shoulders, each leaving a mark. Deansgate in the 80s felt like the spine of the city, stretching through layers of history, noise and nightlife.
Still is.
It was long,
It is really,
loud and alive, lined with pubs that smelled of spilled ale and cigarette smoke, and shop fronts that
cigarettes and alcohol, we like to call it.
Yeah.
People didn't stroll here. They moved with purpose, weaving
Kendall's
between
still
buses,
there as well, isn't it?
taxis, and the
Deansgate's
occasional
still there.
Definitely still there.
shouting warnings of the end
Big
times.
time.
And yet, amid the rush, there was charm. Just past the Great Northern Warehouse, you could spot old men in flat caps arguing about football outside the Moon Underwater, or hear the distant chime of the town hall clock cutting through the din. One oddity, the Deansgate railway station felt almost forgotten, perched above the street, like a quiet observer of chaos
Still is.
below. In a city evolving fast, Deansgate remained defiantly itself, scruffy, proud and impossible to ignore. Can you still feel the atmosphere of this street today, or has it completely disappeared?
No, it's got
King
better.
Street in the
Yeah, big
80s
time.
was where Manchester put on its
Love
best
King
jacket
Street.
and didn't care if it had a few scuffs. Once the city's banking district, it had an air of old money and quiet confidence. Granite facades, ornate doorways and marble floors inside buildings that smelled faintly of polished wood and paper. But by the 80s, finance was slipping away and high-end fashion was moving in. Vivienne Westwood once had a shop here, tucked among the tailors and boutiques that dressed everyone from lawyers to club kids with cash. Suits in the windows, synth music leaking from radios inside. It was both elegant and oddly subversive. You could walk past a luxury jeweller and then bump into someone with green hair and a leather jacket. King Street wasn't trying to be cool. It just was, in that
He sounds like he's narrating what it is now.
Yeah.
But showing old pictures.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it is now.
There was a more modern picture before because it was showing some of the skyscrapers going up, wasn't it?
So
But,
it's showing some of the trams as well.
yeah.
But the way he's describing it, you can walk past these top-end jewellers and then bump into someone with green hair. That's exactly what it is now.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah.
It seems to me like the narrator's going on about, like, it's been narrated now for this modern day.
Yeah.
The old Deansgate being the spine.
Yeah,
The Moon Underwater.
Yeah,
the Deansgate.
yeah.
They're still arguing about football outside there.
Yeah.
Still very both predominant.
It's really
there.
good when you see some of the old shots though, the buildings, because basically most of them are exactly the same, aren't they?
They are.
You know,
Well,
the
it's
facade and the outside because it's old architecture.
Yeah. I mean, when it's took that picture down King Street, I mean, you look down King Street now, it's the only thing that's missing is the trams going across the middle of it, where that blue Capri was.
Yes, that's right.
effortless, slightly aloof Mancunian way. Oxford Road in the 1980s wasn't just a street, it was a culture clash on concrete. Home to the University of Manchester, the Royal Northern College of Music, and countless bedsits,
That's the hotel now, isn't it?
Youth,
Yeah, that's right,
ideas, and a hint of rebellion. Students scribbled in notebooks by day and lined up for gigs by night, often at the academy or down toward Rafters, where Joy Division once played. The smell of fried food from greasy cafes mingled with the musty scent of old books from second-hand shops. You could catch a bus next to someone reading Marx and get off beside someone lugging a keyboard to rehearsal. One curious constant, the Holy Name Church. Solemn and steady as chaos swirled around it. Oxford Road never slept, but it always dreamed loudly, sometimes badly, but always with heart. Tib Street in the 80s was Manchester's wild little corridor, grimy, strange, and unforgettable. Long before the Northern Quarter found its hipster glow, Tib Street was famous for one thing: pets. Parrots squawked from shop windows. Hamsters spun off.
Bullshit.
I was going to say, I used to go down there all the time. There was one that said adult books. Oh, not that one, though.
I'll tell you now, Tib Street, it's famous for one thing: pets.
I don't get that.
I don't think it is. That's definitely the red light district. It's the centre of the red light district.
Oh, really? You know what? I never knew
What?
that.
I actually knew that. No.
What?
There used to be a skateboard shop down there.
Fucking hell. How do you not know that?
You couldn't get more different.
In late 70s, early 80s, I was like quite into skateboarding, probably more late 70s sort of thing when I was a young teenager. And yeah, there was a skateboard shop in town on Tib Street. And we used to go there quite a bit.
I go down that area quite a bit because some of the pubs that are going down Tib Street now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, that was definitely the centre of ladies of the night, let's say.
I never knew.
I never knew that. I never knew it. Well,
Who'd have thought, eh?
Okay.
So you need to get out more.
Clearly.
Cages. It wasn't just a street. It was a living, breathing pet bazaar. And locals still joked they could hear the barking from blocks away. There was something else in the air.
Not sure if they're dogs, mate.
Dog food signs. You'd spot fading
Pitching
murals,
fancy.
punk flyers stapled to lampposts, and corner shops selling everything from fuses to incense. It was cluttered, noisy, and totally authentic. Tib Street didn't care what you thought of it, and that was its magic. In a city full of stories, this was one of the weirdest chapters, and proudly so. Oldham Street in the 80s was vinyl, velvet and venom, all in the same afternoon. Long before it became the poster child for indie cool, this street was the gritty, beating heart of Manchester's underground. You came here for record shops like Eastern Bloc or Decibel, where DJs argued over imports, and punks hunted for rare pressings like they were gold dust. But it wasn't just music, it was mood. The kind
one of the oldest
street where
pubs,
you could
innit?
get your boots
Oh, is it?
resold,
Right.
buy a fanzine, and hear 3 different accents in one shop. The graffiti on the walls wasn't decoration, it was declaration. Political, raw, and angry. Oldham Street didn't whisper, it shouted. And if you listened closely, you could hear the city's future forming in stereo. What about you? Which version of this spot do you prefer? The old one or the new one? Piccadilly Gardens in the 1980s was
so
far
much
from
cleaner.
picturesque,
Yeah.
but it was real. Before the redesigns and fountains,
like that now.
it was
No,
mostly
absolutely
concrete.
not.
Grass patches worn thin, and a bus interchange buzzing with life. Teenagers smoked under the statue of Queen Victoria. Office workers devoured chip butties on cracked benches, and pigeons ruled the square like tiny feathered gangsters. It was chaotic and weirdly democratic. A place where everyone passed through, shoppers from Market Street, punks heading to
Why can't it
gigs,
be like that now?
and lost
I know.
tourists trying to make
Unbelievable,
sense
innit?
of the bus schedules. The old Piccadilly Gardens was never beautiful, but it had soul. It was the city's front porch.
Looks all right to me.
Yeah,
rough
that's
around
better
the
it is now
edges,
anyway, innit?
loud at all hours, but unmistakably Manchester. Albert Square in the 80s was Manchester's
Back.
stone-faced storyteller, watching decades unfold from beneath the gothic gaze of the town hall.
It's finished.
The square
finally
didn't
finished,
move
yeah.
fast
At
like the
last.
rest of the city. It stood still, soaked in rain, history and quiet defiance. By day, it hosted protests, civic speeches and impromptu busker shows. By night, it echoed with footsteps and distant sirens. There was always a weight to the place. Kids skated past statues they didn't recognise. City workers smoked in the shadow of spires without looking
Square
up.
Albert.
And yet,
Yeah.
if you paused, really paused, you'd feel the layers. Industrial triumph, political struggle, and Mancunian pride, all packed into a few cobblestoned metres. In a city constantly changing,
Yeah, they did the town hall up. It took them about 300 years to do it.
It's a long
Yeah,
time,
it's,
hasn't it?
I know if it's not finished, it's almost finished because the Christmas markets are going to be back in Albert Square this year.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Was it in Exchange Square for the past few years?
It's been all
And
over.
Piccadilly.
They scattered them all out now a lot.
a few
sort of thing,
places,
but it's been
haven't they?
Exchange Square's had a few stores,
Gardens.
but it's been around Piccadilly Gardens mostly.
Yeah.
Piccadilly Gardens gets the most. That's why they won't put the gardens back in, because it'll take up all the room where they put the stalls for the Christmas markets.
Yeah.
But the Square Albert was my local.
Oh, was it?
I used to go in, not local because I wasn't local to that pub sort of
Yeah.
thing, but it was. I used to go there every Saturday night.
When you went to town, that's the place.
Every
where you
Saturday
went.
there, and then on to Cypress Tavern, places like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Okay.
It was a proper old shindig there.
Yeah, I bet.
Albert Square reminded you where it all began. Castlefield in the 1980s was like a forgotten postcard, faded, water-stained, but rich with story. Long before the lofts and wine bars, it was a quiet relic of Manchester's industrial soul. Canals crisscrossed the area, reflecting rusted iron bridges and brick warehouses with boarded windows. You could walk for blocks without seeing anyone, except maybe a lone fisherman or a dog sniffing through rubble. And yet, this silence spoke volumes. Castlefield was where the Romans built their first fort, where trains first thundered into the city. By the 80s, it had become an accidental museum, steel, stone and soot frozen in time. Kids explored the ruins like an urban jungle, unaware they were climbing history. It wasn't polished or preserved, but Castlefield didn't need permission to matter. It just did. Tucked away on Quay Street, Granada Studios was more than a...
The Castlefield area now is like it's probably it's the boom centre of like bars, restaurants.
Yeah, I've been around there for a while. Actually.
Duke's 92, Albert Shed,
right,
all around there.
Yeah,
and then you go further up into what's the place where the Ivy is and all that. Spinning Fields. It's just off Quay Street, and that's what he's going to get to now. Quay Street's become a real like big IT area now. If you come to the top end of Quay Street, to where it meets Deansgate, near the Opera House. Yeah, it's where the Ivy is and the tattoo and all that sort of things. Really nice.
TV lot. It was Manchester's dream factory. If you lived in the north of England in the 1980s, chances are your television flickered with something filmed here. Coronation Street, with its cobbled set and smoky interiors, wasn't just a soap opera. It was part of your week, your living room,
documentary,
your identity. But behind the cameras, things were stranger. Tourists wandered the outdoor sets, hoping to spot a star. School trips gawked at control rooms with more buttons than sense. And if you were lucky, or cheeky, you might sneak a peek at Richard and Judy filming in the corner. There was glamour, but it wore comfortable shoes. Granada didn't just reflect the city, it amplified it. One episode, one accent, one stubbornly northern punchline at a time. If Manchester had a church in the 80s, it throbbed with bass and neon. It was the Haçienda. Opened in 1982 by Factory Records and funded in part by New Order, it didn't look like much from the outside. A minimalist box on Whitworth Street West. But inside? Inside was another universe entirely. This was where everything collided. Post-punk, acid house, warehouse grit and future legend. You could dance next to a stranger one night and read about them.
One guy in a shirt, one guy in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
The club was chaotic, often broke, occasionally half empty, but it changed music history anyway. No velvet ropes, no VIP rooms, just strobes, sweat and sound that made your ribcage tremble.
Wow.
The Haçienda wasn't just a nightclub. It was the spark that lit the Manchester explosion. Is this how you remember it? Or is our memory playing tricks on us? The floor bounced. That's the first thing anyone tells you about the Ritz.
You must have been there, Mike. That must have been one of yours.
Oh, I've been to the Ritz,
A legendary sprung dance floor.
It was like Grab a Granny night, wasn't it? That's what we used to call it, Grab a Granny. Right, and the dance floor, you won't remember this, Max. I don't know if the Ritz is still there, isn't it?
That's where Spangled are playing.
Yeah,
that's why it was still there.
The O2 Ritz now, it's a music venue.
Right, okay, so it's a music venue. So the dance floor used to have like...
It was
like,
I think it
still does.
Yeah.
Okay, it's famous for that. I've not been in for since I was like...
No, I've
probably about 18.
Literally in the 80s, last time I went there, I think.
Same.
Long time ago.
But I thought it's definitely one of Mike's venues. That it was for the people who like to dress up in the, like Ubermore shirt and like combed hair and all that.
Big time.
That moved with the crowd, turning every gig into something visceral. Open since the 1920s, but in the 80s, the Ritz found a new groove. Post-punk, goth,
there you go.
New wave. If it had a beat and a following, it played here. It wasn't glamorous. The walls were chipped, the bar was sticky, and the toilets were a gamble. But when the lights dimmed,
it's like everywhere in Manchester.
Big time. The whole place transformed. Students swayed, skinheads stomped, couples kissed in shadows. Morrissey once called it 1980s melancholy in motion. 1980s. The Ritz didn't care who you were, just that you danced like you meant it. It looked like it had landed from another planet. And in 1980 Manchester, that was saying something. The Daily Express building on Great Ancoats Street was a glass
still got all the
chrome
presses there
marvel,
on the window.
All curves and reflections in
on the
a
bottom
city
floor.
still wearing soot on its bricks. Built in the 1930s, but decades ahead of its time, it felt like stepping into a sci-fi film every time you walked past. In a city of red bricks and grey skies, it shimmered defiantly. People either loved it or hated it. There was no in-between. Some called it 1980s. The Crystal Palace, 1980s. Others, 1980s, a giant jukebox. 1980s. But whether you worked there, wandered by, or just caught your own face warped in its mirrored skin, you remembered it. It stood for boldness, for difference, for the idea that Manchester could be modern without apology. They were supposed to be the future, bold,
nice. Fucking dare go there.
The Hulme Crescents, once Europe's largest housing development, rose like a concrete maze on the edge of central Manchester. Built in the late 1960s, but by the 1980s, the dream had cracked.
Literally, the writers were, wasn't it?
Poor insulation and design flaws turned this modernist vision into a dystopian labyrinth. But somehow, amid the decay, life flourished. Squatters, students, artists and rebels moved in, transforming empty flats into studios, sound systems and collective chaos. Bands rehearsed in bedrooms, murals appeared overnight, and underground raves echoed through crumbling corridors. It was rough, it was wild, but it was real. The Crescents became Manchester's accidental arts district, flawed, fearless and unforgettable.
Don't remember that.
Manchester...
He made it sound nice there, didn't he?
Polished. It pulsed. It was loud, unpredictable and full of corners that meant something, even if you didn't realise it at the time. From bouncing dance floors to barking pet shops, from shattered dreams in concrete towers to legendary club nights beneath flickering strobes, this city carved its identity into every street and every soul who walked them. But what about now? Are these places still the same? Or have they vanished beneath glass and steel? Let us know in the comments. Which ones surprised you? And how different or familiar do they feel today? If this...
Yeah, Hume surprised me. He made it sound like an oasis of
calm.
calm.
Call it a dystopian labyrinth. I'd call it a massive shithole.
It's been flattened.
It's now an Asda.
I think it's all gone, hasn't it? All that.
Yeah, it's like an Asda there now on a Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC, whatever. And there's like one of the big IT companies have got like a massive building there as well.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's gone. It's only 10 minutes from, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes from my house where it was.
Yeah.
But it was, you wouldn't have been 5 minutes from my house if they were still there.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be a lot further away.
Yeah. But it was, some of the place, Tib Street, I don't remember it being known for pet shops,
no.
100%. I definitely 100% know it for something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ain't pet shops. There may have been loads of pet shops there. I've just never noticed them.
Yeah.
You're never there during the day, mate. That's probably why.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that barking I could hear wasn't dogs.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It might have been people dressed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more famous for that. If you ask anyone from Manchester, what's Tib Street famous for? I'll guarantee you 90+% would say Ladies of the Night.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
You know. But you got things like Tib Street Tavern there. You've got what's the place where everyone goes to karaoke? God, it escapes me now. It's a big famous place. They have it on TV all the time and stuff like that where they go karaoke. Oh, I can't remember what it's called now, but that's just on the corner of it, sort of thing, just a bit further up. But there's like loads of.
There's some great old buildings there, though, isn't there? And a lot of them are still standing, like the northern warehouses and stuff like that.
Well, Tib Street. When you go back to Tib Street, when I was talking before about earliest sort of like occupants there as residents, that was around the Tib Street area.
Yeah,
it was just on Tib Street, just a bit further down on the left. So I think I think it actually shown some newer houses there.
That's right.
But they were more apartments than houses.
Right.
So I think so. That was like one of the original sort of like residential areas.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at Piccadilly Gardens, and he said there, it seemed like it was being narrated, probably AI, but it seemed like it being narrated on modern times.
Yeah,
but showing old pictures.
Yeah,
it sort of did really, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, Piccadilly was better then, wasn't it? When you looked at Piccadilly Gardens,
it's all right. Yeah. Now you look at it, now it's a shit pit.
It's all stripped out, and now it's nothing there, is it?
Now it's just a massive concrete wall, loads of tram lines, stalls, like little stalls all hanging around, no uniform to them.
They put that massive sort of like
concrete,
like a big concrete wall thing there, and
they've tried to modernise it and put some like cool, trendy thing there. Do you like where the markets are? And it just doesn't No one's going to go in there.
Yeah, you've got tram stops, you've got bus stops, you've got like it's like almost like a what do you call it, like a transport hub.
Yeah,
I
guess it is
interchange.
Yeah,
I guess it is really, isn't it? I mean, there's always been buses there, aren't there? But then also you've got the tram there now as well, haven't you?
Well, like Gardens is where I get off on the tram to then go elsewhere. Yeah. Like I don't go like, well, let's go hang around Piccadilly Gardens. It's let's go through Manchester.
Even the pubs around there are not great.
Considering what else is going on in Manchester, all the development going on, it's a bit of a disgrace that it's like that, really. Yeah. That's the centre of the city, and it's just not great at all, is it?
As soon as you come out Piccadilly train station, you walk down the ramp, and you're into Piccadilly Gardens pretty much, just a little bit further up. And all there is now is protests, muggings, arguments, all kinds of like preaching,
people on spice and stuff like that.
And they've got the crackheads and all that kind of stuff. It's just a massive melting pot of like trouble.
It should be the nicest place in the
You should be walking out to gardens, like exactly, roses and bushes of plants and flowers, loads, and all sort of benches where you can sit down and have a nice, peaceful time.
Get some trees up there, and
instead of being harassed, sponsorships and
take this flyer,
donations to charities and shit. Take this flyer. God is great and all that. You're like, mate, fuck off. Go at the match.
Leave me alone.
Just leave me alone. I can see you.
Oh wow!
But there's a bit nostalgic rundown through
Manchester.
It's
great seeing some of the old footage, isn't it, and of the city as it was.
Way before your time, that Max.
Way before my time. The biggest miss was probably the Haçienda. That's something I would have loved to experience.
Yeah. It wasn't the best club, I would say. There was a lot more. It was the most famous club.
It's iconic, wasn't it?
It was very iconic.
Because of New Order and stuff like that, and Tony Wilson.
Tony Wilson, it's sort of like in like you said, New Order. Mondays came through there. People like that factory.
Echo the Bunnymen there as well.
Yeah, some of the bands that played there were absolutely huge, weren't they? So. It was the place to be. It's a shame it's sort of gone completely, hasn't it? It's apartments now, which is a huge shame. It's like getting rid of the Cavern Club in Liverpool, isn't it? It's absolutely unbelievable.
But doesn't Hacienda mean like house in Spanish or something like that, is it?
I think it is.
It's something like home or house, it's fitting and it's apartments.
I guess so,
But I mean, when you look at the clubs and stuff, like I say, I think the Hacienda was the most iconic. It wasn't the best. No, because there was some of the great sort of like really top nightclubs. It depends what sort of music we were into.
It's more niche music there, wasn't it? It was sort of like a certain type, and that was it. It wasn't like all your disco and stuff like that.
There was no disco, not that I can remember, but you had like a lot of like indie there, but you had a lot of punk, you had a lot of like they do rock nights and stuff like that. But then you had places like Jilly's and Rock World and places like that did all the heavy sort of stuff.
I think they played a lot of new music, didn't they? Hacienda, a lot of up and coming bands that they started.
A lot of live music,
and live music, and they really pushed that type of music, didn't they? So it was it was a great place.
Yeah, but it's funny how Hulme got a mention, and it's
I know,
it's not really in Manchester; it's on the outskirts. But it's but Moss Side didn't, and the riots.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the riots were in the 80s, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was, wasn't
82,
it? Yeah,
84,
I think it was.
Something like that, 82, 84.
Yeah, it's like early 80s, wasn't it? I think. Yeah, from what I remember.
Where it was that got a bit messy around there.
Yeah, big time.
But it was a interesting time.
Yeah, very nostalgic, but it's great looking at the old stuff.
So there you go, a little bit of nostalgia on Manchester, the best city in the world, as you say.
Absolutely, we'll have to see if there's a black and more modern, updated version as well. That'd be good.
Depressing.
Anyway, if you're in Manchester, give us a shout. You never know, you might see us, might come down for a beer. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.